Hey everybody, Crystal Kitsune here. This is not a snack crate or any kind of video like that. The reason why I'm making this video is to tell you guys that I'm not doing a regular video today. Because Lucky, the little parakeet that I showed on camera a couple times, passed away. Um, I put a picture of her in the corner over here. I actually didn't really have like l- recent photos of her that were like her just her face or whatever. So that was like this is like the only picture that I have. This one over here. That was one of the pictures that I took when she was still somewhat young and she still had black on her beak. Um, so that was last year sometime. Uh, I'm not quite sure exactly how. I mean, I wrote down like when she was hatched, and I didn't look it up to see like how old exactly she was. But at least a year. Um, and I noticed uh that her health was slowly declining um for like the past week or so. But she had been like under the weather before and she always bounced back. What she did though is like when she got under the weather, she would kind of, get puffy like they do when they're not feeling well and be very baby like. She didn't want to leave me. She didn't want to, be bothered by anybody. She only wanted to be around me. But then when she started feeling better, then she'd go back to her old bitchy self, which was like she didn't want to have too much to do with me, and she would make noises and lash out at me anytime I tried to touch her. This last time, though, however, she stopped eating. I noticed that she wasn't eating hardly at all. The male that she was with, Teeny, the one that would bring out here also, um, would be feeding her like, as a male would do to his mate. And like that would be like the only food that she would get. And she got like severely skinny. Uh, when I would pick her up the last couple days, she was like not thick in the chest anymore. She was like very malnourished. So I'm thinking it was some sort of digestive problem that caused her to lose appetite and not eat. Though the day before she died, she actually did eat. So I was thinking, oh well, maybe she like did a turnaround or something, and she'll just get better. But alas, she did not. Um, so last night, uh, I went into my room, and she was on the bottom of the cage, and it's kind of hard to tell like before like because she would like to sleep on the bottom of the cage anyway, but not because she was sick, just because she liked it down there. And I had like a little box that she could go in and hide if she wanted to. So she liked being on, I don't know why, but she just liked being on the bottom of the cage. But usually when she was on the bottom of the cage, Teeny was usually up on the rung, the higher rungs. But this time I went in there and he was next to her and he was scratching her head with his beak. And her eyes were closed and she was all puffed up. And I picked her up and I brought her over to the bed and sh I put her in my hand and I laid her on her back. And I knew that something was going to happen pretty soon because she did not like being on her back whatsoever. And I held her up to my ear to see what her heartbeat situation was. Because I had another parakeet that was like that, um, where their heartbeat's usually like like really super fast. It was like about half that. So I knew that she was on the way out and she wasn't going to be with us for much longer. So I had her in my hand and I just talked to her and petted her and all that stuff. And then she did the last movement. Like, it's weird, like, she just, like, totally, her eyes, like, snapped open and, like, she stretched her legs out, like, really super far. And then, like, took a couple, like, little chittering things and then she was gone. It was weird. But I think my other parakeet did that too. It's some weird thing that happens to them or something. But then I was like, you know, she was gone. So I closed her little eyes before she started getting too uh, stiff. um, and then I, stuck her. It's weird. I stick them in the freezer in the garage, but technically that was only supposed to be temporary. But I guess that's like the bird mortuary over in there. We don't really keep food in there anymore. It's like there's like some odds and ends in there, but it's this old freezer that we have that's in the garage. And um like I said, there's not a lot of food in there, so it's not like we're like contaminating it or anything. All the food is in the house or in the other refrigerator that we have out in the backyard on the porch. So yeah, Lucky is gone, and I was super upset because she was my favorite. She was my favorite parakeet. I practically like or not seemingly, but I basically raised her. Like when mommy and daddy were done, um, you know, rearing her, and she got to the point where she was, getting used to being on a perch, getting used to eat by herself. I basically took over, and I had her with me like almost constantly, and I would keep her here in the living room, and anytime I left the room to go like either the kitchen or the bathroom, she was always like chirp 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 chirp, like she was like wondering where I was at and why I didn't take her with me. So, but this last couple days, I did have her out here in the living room, and she was just right here next to me, and if I did put her down, she tried to follow me, but by that time she was kind of weak and she didn't get very far because she got to the point like when she was older, or, and could fly. She could fly to me, and I think that's what she was trying to do, but she landed on the floor instead. Because there was one time that I left to go out to the backyard and she followed me, and then there was another time I went to the bathroom and she tried to follow me. So yeah, so yeah, she's gone, and that's why I'm not doing a regular video. This is just a kind of memorial video for Lucky. I know it might seem kind of weird to like make a video about a pet or something that passed away, but they're kind of more like my children. If that sounds, I mean, if that sounds weird, I'm sorry, but um, a lot of people they get pets, and they'll take care of them like they're pets, like they're just animals. And yeah, you will still get attached to them, but not as much, I guess. But like for me, the two original ones that I had were like my children, and then I bought like two more, and they were my children, and then they procreated and they gave me grandkeets, and then one of the grandkeets with another parakeet gave me great grandkeets. So it's like they're like my family, even though I do complain about them sometimes when they get loud, and I do, yell at them when they're making so much noise that I can't think. Um, the ones that are still with us are like my children. So if they die, then it's like part of my family is gone. And Lucky was especially uh, more like family, I guess, because she was very close. And like I had her out almost all the time, and I kind of neglected my other parakeets for her because she was special and she was such a little card. She was able to, I mean, she was into everything. Anything that I would bring into the living room when she was here, she had to get in the big middle of. I might have told these stories before, but she has gotten into a plate of pancakes, and she has gotten into a bowl of uh, fruit salad that we made that had Cool Whip on top of it. And both times she jumped right in the big middle of the dish and had to get washed off because she had stuff all over. And when she was younger, she liked to play with my phone. Um, she would actually click on apps on my phone and just play with them. And it's just like she thought that everything belonged to her, or everything that was brought around her was hers. When I first brought the guinea pigs into this house, after some confrontation with the where she was living, or where they were living, like I had her cage with open, and I had like the boys' cage open, and then I went off and did something, and then I come back, and Lucky's in the big middle of the guinea pigs' cage, and like trying to take it over pretty much. And I'm like, no, Lucky, this is not your home. Your home is next door. So yeah, she was a funny little bird. I probably never have another bird that was like her because they're all different in their own ways. So, they're not going to be another bird that's going to be like Lucky. And so I just didn't really feel like making a happy go lucky video because of the recent passing of the bird of Lucky. So I'm just gonna go ahead and before I start bawling too much on camera, um, thanks for understanding, and hopefully we'll get that snack crate or that new crate, the Universal Yums thing here pretty soon, and I'll do that for you guys and resume the regular, scheduled content that I usually do. But this is just something that I wanted to bring to light because she was special, and you have seen her. I mean, to I looked back on the video that I did when she was just a baby, and I didn't even know what gender she was. I just kept calling her he, but it turned out to be a little girl. She was the best little girl that I have had. So, uh, I'll see you guys in another video. Hopefully one that's a little less depressing. So, thanks for understanding, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.